Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this PSA Group Mobility Days. I would like to express my appreciation to you all for your time. I know that you have busy schedules, and today I would like to share with you some of our thoughts regarding mobility. As you know, this topic is central to the PSA's Group Corporate Social Responsibility because it relates directly to the universal right of freedom of movement. This right must be guaranteed for our fellow citizens, both today and in the future, and we have a duty to help meet this challenge. The PSA Group is committed to going well beyond designing cars, something we have been doing quite successfully for more than a century. We take an holistic approach, and today we are going to share with you some of the latest achievements that illustrate the Group's commitments in this area. As you know, our Push to Pass strategic growth plan for a profitable growth will cover a period ranging from 2016 to 2021. And it is structured around two main pillars. In our historic car-making business, which consists in designing, producing, and selling vehicles and service of the highest standards in terms of appeal, quality, safety, and environmental protection, we aim to be the benchmark car maker on the leading edge of efficiency. Alongside that goal, we also are aiming at becoming the favorite mobility supplier of all of our customers, both now and in the future. This represents a first step towards our long-term vision because the need for mobility is growing in today's society, and we have an important role to play as a solution provider. We are currently seeing a shift from ownership to experience. The emergence of new collaborative practices such as carpooling and car sharing supports the idea that a vehicle is no longer an extension of ourselves, but rather a space to share with our peers. Its true value will be measured by how it can be used by consumers and how it shapes their life experiences. To make headway on this key issue for society, I want to instill in the PSA Group a culture of constructive dialogue with all stakeholders to determine what mobility will look like in the cities and rural areas of tomorrow, based on demanding but stable criteria so that the automotive industry can fully leverage its innovation potential. It is important to adopt an holistic approach to the environmental performance of mobility solutions by taking into account the energy used by the mobility device on the one hand and the environmental impact of producing that energy on the other hand, known as the well-to-wheel rather than the tank-to-wheel analysis. A 360 degrees approach is needed because isolating the two parameters would result in a serious mistake. The solutions of the future will need to be a combination of services and mobility devices that are safe, comfortable, and environmentally friendly. Our customers will not compromise on any aspect of this virtuous triangle. Our goal is to start providing mobility services as early as today to clients with whom we already have a relationship, representing no less than 15 million people in 2015. We set ourselves this new goal because we noticed new trends emerging, new habits spreading, new changes taking place within our society, and all have an impact on our business. These changes signal a radically new future for the automotive industry and for technology as a whole. Thanks to our agility, we are able to anticipate this transformation on a very large scale. It's a real paradigm shift. Our current and future customers have a variety of needs throughout their lives as motorists, and we will offer them a portfolio of services that includes car sharing, but also financing, parts and servicing, and used cars, for example. Similarly, there isn't just one kind of mobility, but many. Cars still serve as a means to protect people from the risk of isolation in areas where people live far apart. In an aging population, guaranteeing mobility for the elderly is the key to maintaining independence, let's not forget that 65% of seniors live in rural and suburban areas today, that 25% of those who live in rural areas don't travel at all during the week. The PSA Group Foundation has supported more than 400 mobility-related projects over the past 5 years, including projects to improve access to employment. As highlighted in a study published in November 2015 by France's Labour Ministry, 74% of the active population in France uses cars to commute between home and work, while the portion who use public transportation has fallen from 15 down to 11% over the last 12 years. An additional study by France's Inclusive Mobility Laboratory shows that 28% of the working age population have already missed out on a job or training because of mobility issues. And just this month, l'Observatoire CTLM published the results of a survey in which 90% of the 5,800 motorists questioned in 15 countries said that they consider their vehicle to be 95% synonymous with freedom. They also think it is a vital means of transport because it saves time. The core technology strategy in the Push to Pass plan will help us develop mobility services of the future that deliver meaningful results in the area of clean car solutions, thanks to 2 new platforms that will enable us to offer 7 plug-in hybrid petrol models and 4 electric models by 2021. Since cars are part of an ecosystem in which all objects have the capacity to communicate with each other, we are now working on connected and communicative cars. The PSA Group has been a pioneer in this field, with close to 2 million connected cars sold since 2003, enhancing our customer safety. A large-scale Scoop.com-F trial in 2017 will enable communication between vehicles and road infrastructure in France via the ITS G5 communication system, the Wi-Fi system for vehicles. 1,000 PSA Group vehicles will be deployed on more than 2,000 kilometers of roads in France. Lastly, the autonomous car is already a technological reality at PSA, which is spearheading the field with 10 C4 Picasso prototypes, having already traveled 60,000 kilometers on roads in Europe since summer 2015. Our teams are working to implement our roadmap and validate the various levels of autonomy: hands-on, hands-off, eyes-off, mind-off, and driverless. This constant quest for cutting-edge technology is part of the PSA Group's DNA. Alongside our core technology strategy, we are currently setting up the ecosystem that you can see on the screen to ensure that our core mobility services strategy is as solid and robust as possible. At this point, I would like to thank all of our partners present today here for coming here to talk with you. To speed things up, we have gotten in touch with numerous startups and have established win-win relationships with many of them. It would be silly to stifle the intellectual vitality that impressed us in the first place by integrating these startups into our group. In exchange, our partners know that they can use our organization and our geographic footprint to help speed up their growth. The PSA Group must be an impact player. We are enhancing our business model together using cross-fertilization in order to anticipate changing expectations even more effectively. We'll continue to expand our partnership by investing 100 million euros, part of which will serve to broaden our portfolio of mobility solutions with a target of 300 million euros in revenues by 2021. However, this figure is less important than the fact that we will be a step ahead of the crowd in preparing our company for the future. In this mobility ecosystem, we are putting together the pieces of a giant puzzle so that they can fit together seamlessly and enhance our portfolio of solutions day after day with innovative products, intelligent mobility services that are constantly evolving as the definition of our offering becomes clearer and clearer. We are at the center of a rich ecosystem made up of traditional players, newcomers, startups, and developers. And we need them all in order to transform our business model and offer new solutions that more effectively meet society's needs both today and tomorrow. I am pleased to announce that we will be working closely with Communauto, whose CEO, Mr. Benoit Robert, has crossed the Atlantic to be here with us today. One of the pioneers of car sharing in North America for the past 22 years, Communauto offers car sharing services in Canada and since 2012 in Paris. Together, we are going to explore new horizons. To oversee all of this, we have set up a mobility services department headed by Mr. Grégoire Olivier. I also have the honor today of announcing the creation of our new brand for mobility services, Free to Move. Embodies the PSA Group's response to the significant changes taking place in society and the new collaborative practices that are emerging. All of our mobility and connected services will be united under this new brand. It symbolizes the beginning of a new chapter in our history, the start of a major transformation designed to serve our ultimate goal of making our customers happy. To wrap up, I would like to reiterate some key takeaways. Mobility is central to the PSA Group's corporate social responsibility because it relates directly to the universal right of freedom of movement. With this new mobility-related goal, we are positioning the PSA Group as a solution provider. We are committed to maintaining constructive dialogue with all stakeholders and taking a long-term view. Lastly, it is important to adopt an holistic approach to the environmental performance of mobility solutions, which means using a well-to-wheel rather than tank-to-wheel analysis. Thank you for your attention. We are now open for your questions.